Hey, g'day guys, it's Adam from Video Show Me How, and in this video, if you have a ute tub and you've been driving on a dirt road, and particularly a dusty dirt road, you will know that this gets absolutely caked in dust. So in this video, I'm going to show you a simple DIY, super cheap way of properly sealing your tub to keep the dust on this side, not on that side. So without further ado, let's get started. So now, of course, you can buy a full kit. Now, they're about $100 plus from what I've been able to find compared to all of this, which totals about $25 in total. So a bit of a difference there. I've seen ones that are even more expensive that have little bits coming off the side, stuff that goes on the front, which I just don't know how that will work, grabbing stuff in and out. You can go, if you've got a canopy, you can get one of these little jobbies that help as well because they add some pressure to the inside of your canopy with some canopy fans, that sort of stuff. So there's a bunch of different options that you can get off the shelf, but ultimately it's video show me how, right? Not video show you where you can just go and buy it and have it done. So this is a super cost effective way, and you could probably even get it cheaper than the $20 depending on where you can find this stuff. Ultimately what you're going to need some D-rubber. This sort of sizing as well works really well. Now if you think about how this works, why you actually get dust in there, it's kind of a little bit of the old aerodynamics a little bit. And how it works is if you picture you're careening down the old freeway, right? We've got airflow coming this way across here, we've got it going underneath. At the back, it's sort of this negative pressure zone. So what will happen there is it's going to create these little vortices, little low pressure zone there, because you've got pressure going top and bottom, a little low pressure there, which ultimately, if there's any then other areas that it can get in, it will because of that pressure. That's why if you have a canopy vent and some pressure going into the tub, it's sort of pushing out and negating that negative pressure zone that lives just over here. So the best way I can illustrate that is with some lights that are poking in there. If I move this junk out of the way, you can kind of even see there. Look at the gap of that. This is a factory D-Max. Your 4Drive may look very similar. If you get all the way along, we can see daylight. Now I've got a couple of lights down the bottom there, granted, but look at that. There is daylight all the way around, and that's ultimately what we're wanting to combat. So how we can easily do that, or how we can most effectively do that, is by stopping the daylight. So all we need to do is we need to get ourselves some of this D-rubber. Looks a little bit like that. The D is important because it compresses, so it allows a little bit of gap filling on our tub surface here as well. It has 3M adhesive on the back, which, like I said, this has been on here for 2 years. Prep makes all the difference. And then what you're looking at doing is sealing up where you can see some daylight. It really is as simple as that. So step one is you want to give it all a clean. Now I've only got some terps here. I found the wax and grease remover will work the best, but this still works. Ultimately, you want to give everything a really solid clean from your tub, and it may be different if you don't have a D-Max, but all the way down in here, give that a really good clean. These sections here, anywhere that is going to mate up to the actual tub to your tailgate. So if you just sort of eyeball that as you close it up, anywhere that's going to hit, that's what you want to make sure is super clean. So if you've got a D-Max, that means all the way down here, or if you've got a similar ute, this bit here touches as well, and then all the way along the front here, this surface here, as well as this surface here, all the way along, and then same story there. So that is step one. Give it a super good clean. The reason why we do that is so that our glue from our tape sticks really well and it doesn't come off. So step one, give it a solid clean, and we'll get into installing some of our rubber. So all clean. Step number two then is to start running your seal. Now for the D-Max, you want to get all the way down here. I found you needed to snip for your tailgate component there, but it's pretty much touching there anyway. So get it up nice and close. You want maximum seal here, guys, maximum seal. So all the way down there, all the way down there. Same on the right hand side. Don't forget about this little sucker here. Anything that's going to press against your tub itself, tailgate to tub, needs a seal on it. So a nice big fat strip straight across this guy. That's why we needed to clean him. And then all the way along the bottom of your tub. Now it's really important to get it as close to the top as possible, because we need it to mate to this surface. Now, if your tub is different to the D-Max, you may actually need to double dip. You can do a second run on the tailgate itself, up a little bit higher here, just along that front edge, so that the two bits of rubber mate together. But I recommend first step is to do the U shape first, so underneath there and up both sides. Start with that, and then we'll do another test with a bit of a light. It's helpful if you've got someone else here. You can eyeball from that side, someone else can shine a light underneath, and then you can kind of work out where your gaps are. So that's our second step, is to start laying our sides, and then one big strip across the bottom. Right, so we've got our sides done here and our extra little bit there. You want it to kind of overlap a little bit so that these two bits are going to compress in together. Same on this side, so those two guys are going to compress in nicely, and then all the way up the side there as well. Now, lucky last is to run all the way along the base. Now, it's going to be up to you on whether you do overlap in there like that as well, so you get a really good seal in the corner. For most tubs, they do curve around like this, so you do have a bit more of a gap there. I like to go there as well, and that's ultimately what we're wanting to do. You want to get it as high as possible to the level of your tub. Don't go too high because you're just going to rip it off, but obviously too low is going to be ineffective. So just right, as they say, and then one continuous run all the way along. Now, top tip here is if you stretch it, you're going to put extra pressure on the tape itself, the adhesive. So just make sure that the rubber is nice and relaxed, if that makes any sense. So don't sort of stretch it or pull it too hard. You want to make sure that it is nice and relaxed so that it's sort of not in a stretch state. Hopefully that makes some sort of sense, but basically keep your rubber relaxed and run it all the way along there. So that's our step number 3, and then we can test it for if we can see any light. Right, so we're all done. We have our full length all the way across. We have it all nice and doubled up in this corner because that's our weak spot as far as the curvature going on there. So we're going to seal all that up nicely. We've got all the way up the sides, and then same story over here. So feeling pretty good about that. That's pretty much exactly the same setup I've been running for the last couple of years. Our next step is to either get a partner with a bit of a light so that they can hold that up under there, or get as much sort of light underneath there as you can. I'll lift your tailgate, go around the side, see what you can see. There we go, look at that. No mucking about, no trick editing or anything like that. We are nice and sealed. So that is exactly what you're looking for. If you do see any light at all, you may just need to reposition. I found on this particular vehicle that is completely fine. The best thing here is to leave this shut, so do it sort of later in the day where you're going to have the tailgate shut overnight. It just gives you know, at least that 12-hour mark for the tape to really set in there, and that way it's not going to come off and last you a whole bunch of years. The final thing is, if you are still seeing a bunch of light because you're in a different vehicle or have you should have enough. If you got one of the 5-meter jobbies, you should have enough to do a second run, but this time do it on the inside of your tailgate itself. And if you do that, I recommend running from here. There's a little bit of a lip there, and run it all the way along this edge here. You can kind of see where I was playing with that yonks ago. I just been slack and haven't got the tape off, but ultimately just have a play, close the lid sort of up. Another run along there will go a bit of rubber to rubber action and will be super sealed. So you may find you don't need that. I don't need that in my case, but if you do, you've got plenty left over. You can do exactly the same thing to make sure it's all nice and sealed up. So there you go. For about 20 bucks and a bit of DIY, some snips, and honestly about 15 minutes, you can seal your tub. No need for one of those big kits. Not dissing those big kits. They are a great out of the sort of the box solution, but if you look closely, some of them are actually exactly this stuff. So if you're keen on a DIY and you're watching this channel, so there's a fair chance you are, grab yourself some of this stuff and have a crack yourself, because you can totally have an effective solution that will keep the dust on this side and not on that side. Well, that's all for this one, guys. I hope you found that helpful. Of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. There is a stack of DIY content just like that, but then also 100 plus videos on the build series of this guy. This is all changing too, by the way, if you're still watching. This is all from this point backwards. All this gone. Videos coming soon. As always, guys, I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers, guys.